Yes, Amaya, go ahead. All the best, everyone.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Good morning, one and all present here with us today. I, Amiya Adkar, welcome you all to the tête-à-tête event of the I Lead Cup. This event comes under the I Express category. Through this event, the students have excellently showcased their knowledge and communication skills. I will now introduce the judges of today's event. The first judge for today is Ms. Suhasini Jain. She is a finance head by training but an itinerant explorer by inclination. Her passion to explore led her to start Lighthouse, a luxury niche travel company. In the past decade, Lighthouse has won several national as well as international awards. I, on behalf of Indus Pune, welcome you, Ms. Suhasini.
Thank you. I'm
Thank you,
excited.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah. Um, The second judge for today is Miss Sonika Singh. Miss Sonika has 27 plus years of experience in teaching English language in schools and colleges in Delhi, Pune, Belgium, and Holland. She considers herself extremely fortunate to have taught in CBSE, IB, state, and ICSE schools. Miss Sonika earned a graduate honors and masters in English literature from Miranda House, Delhi University. She also completed her bachelor's in education from Delhi University and a master's in education from Pune University. She is a certified career coach for senior secondary students seeking admission in colleges. She is a great advocate of English and Indian writers and enjoys writing poetry. Her reading list is diverse, including Dickens, Khushwant Singh, Premchand, and Amrita Pritam. She is an avid blogger on English with Sonika over WordPress. She also facilitates a blogging platform called Pink Scroll over Facebook. And on behalf of Indus Pune, I welcome you, Miss Sonika.
Miss, you're on mute.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome, Amay. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, ma'am. So, without further ado, I will explain what will be the rounds for today's event. Um, Today's event will be consisting of two rounds. The first round will be a rapid fire round with the students. They'll be asked some pretty basic questions about climate change. So today's topic for discussion is climate change, and there will be two rounds. The first round, as I said, will be a rapid fire round, and the second round will be a discussion round, which will be a bit longer than the rapid fire round. And in this discussion round, the students with me will discuss about climate change and how it affects people as well as the community. So between the two rounds, we will also have the opinion of the parents of some of the students we have here today. So I think we should start with the first round, which is the rapid fire round. Um, what I want is when I ask the question, I'll repeat the question two times. When I repeat the question, I those who knows the person who knows the answer will raise their hand here, and the first hand I see raised, I will ask the question. I'll ask the person to answer the question. If the person cannot answer the question, we'll move on to the second hand raised.
Amir, sorry to interrupt, but there
Oh,
is no hand raise option.
oh,
You
there
physically
is.
raise the hand.
Okay, fine. We can physically raise the hand. Yeah. So we'll move to the gallery option here so that we can physically raise. Okay. So is everyone ready?
Yes.
We have Siddhant from Orion. We have Ruel from Pegasus. We have Sana from Hercules. Yeah, I think everyone's ready now. Okay, so I'll start with the first question. Which of these countries emit the most carbon dioxide? China, USA, UK, and India. I repeat, which of these countries emit the most carbon dioxide? China, USA, UK, or India? Yes, Sana.
USA.
Okay, Siddhant.
China.
You're correct, Siddhant. China emits the most carbon dioxide globally. I'll move on to the second question. This round is just to provide the judges a platform to know the students' understanding of climate change, basic understanding of climate change. Second, globally, which of the following economic sectors emit the largest percentage of greenhouse gas emissions? Globally, which of the following economic sectors emit the largest percentage of greenhouse gas emissions? First, transportation, second, buildings, third, industry, and fourth, electricity and heat production. First is transportation, second is buildings, third is industry, and fourth is electricity and heat production.
Electricity and heat production.
Yes, you're correct, Ruel. Ruel, from next time you can raise your hand, and then when I ask you, you can speak out the answer. Okay. The third question is, which of the following is not the evidence of global warming? Which of the following is not an evidence of global warming? First, sea level rising, the rising sea levels. Second, the loss of Arctic sea ice. The third, less water vapor in the air. And fourth, more extreme weather events. First is the rising sea levels. Second is the loss of Arctic sea ice. The third is the less water vapor in the air. And fourth, more extreme weather events. Yes, Siddhant?
Less water vapor in the air.
Yeah, correct. Okay, so now I'll ask the fourth question. Climate change causes extreme weather conditions such as flooding, heat waves, hurricanes, or all of the above. Yes,
All of
Sana.
the above.
Yes, you're correct, Sana. Okay, so with this, we'll move on to the last question. I wanted to give most of the time to the discussion. That's why I've made this round pretty short. So the last question is, any amount of CO2 in the air is in the atmosphere is bad for our planet. Firstly, the atmosphere needs to have a certain amount of CO2. Secondly, more amount of CO2 is good for the planet. Thirdly, less amount of CO2 is good for the planet. And fourth, no CO2 is needed for the planet. The atmosphere does not need CO2. Yes, Siddhant?
The third option, less CO2 is good for the planet.
Okay. Sanna,
First one.
which one? What
First one.
you say?
Limited amount of CO2 is needed for the planet.
Okay, so this question was
It's
not a
the
direct. Yeah, yes, Ruel.
yeah, it's the second one. The second one's correct.
Uh, what was the second option?
Um, the uh, the more amount of CO2.
Okay, so this question does not have a definite answer. Like it does not have a direct answer. So as we all know, CO2 is a necessity of the planet, but excess CO2 is bad for the planet. Hence, we do not also need low CO2, but we need it in limited numbers or in limited, what can I say, in limited quantity, so that um, it it is natural and it does not harm the environment. So with this, we come to end of round one, and I request Ms. Papiha to show the parent videos with the opinion of the parent on climate change.
Please just give me a minute to screen share.
Yes, miss, no problem.
Yes, Papi. Yeah, I think Rishit has come into the meeting.
Yes, I have admitted him. Just give me a second, okay? It's loading.
Okay, with that coming into place, I wanted to explain what the second round will be. So the second round will be more of an informal discussion, and in that informal discussion, we'll be discussing on main factors of climate change, and the factors include some of the factors of the causes, some of the factors of the effects, and how do we define sustainability, and how do we know that are we truly sustainable, and what as per you is a truly sustainable living.
Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, miss.
Okay, fantastic.
Miss, you haven't shared the sound, I think. You haven't actually enabled the option of share computer sound.
Okay. Just give me a second.
So, I'll just explain what tête-à-tête. Tête-à-tête in French means face to face, and the it this is one of the informal events of the I Lead Cup, I Express category, and that's why we are actually taking the opinion of the parent and as well as the student, and having an informal discussion. So,
Hi, Rohit.
Just
What's
wanted to
up?
have a quick chat.
Yeah, what's up?
So in our school, we have been discussing about climate change, and I just wanted some of your thoughts.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's quite a vast subject that you've been discussing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, in fact, in my entrepreneurship class in the last week, that's exactly what we were talking about.
Oh, tell me more.
Yeah. So what happened is that they were making businesses for themselves. So I said, you know what, you should go through the UN Sustainable Goals.
Yeah, the 17.
And then try to build your businesses around that. But that's a different
Yeah.
point. You know, what were you guys?
So, in school, we have been all those Elon Musk breakthroughs in helping the world by electronic cars and everything. But I just feel like for a 12-year-old, it's quite difficult to
Yeah,
get
so
those.
I hear you pretty well, but you know, in fact, you can always try your best even at 12 years, right?
Yeah, as of today, what I can do, I do try to make some minor changes here and there.
Like,
So, like sometimes for the switches, I turn them off. I turn the lights and fans off so that when I leave the room, and when I take a shower, I reduce my time of the shower. And when I feel pretty much clean, I just take one bucket of water.
you actually do that? I didn't know.
They don't call me 007 for nothing.
Oh, now that you say this, boss, I realize it's showing in my electricity bills. But it's great. I think you can do better if you think, you know, a little.
Think of it.
So, Ruel, you know, we hear about climate change and sustainability all the time, and like I said before, people talk big, but then
Yeah.
ideally, change begins when it is small, and small things lead up
But
quite well.
what types of small changes?
So, for example, you know, smart kids like you can start volunteering for societies and educating them a bit about environmental climate change and all. Honestly, it's the adults who need, you know, more change than you guys. So,
Really, I have a brilliant idea. They can use timers for gardens or common lights for lights and switches, which are really unnecessary. No wonder the boy gang has been wondering why the building is so lit up during
oh,
Diwali.
that's right. In fact, you are the generation who will bear the brunt of the climate change. You know, so
Yeah.
you guys have to be more vigilant. You know,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, but I will do this also in my school. I will suggest it in my school to put some student council for for some environmental councils, and he or she can take care of every single waste problems in school.
That sounds great, Ruel. I think that's great going. Proud of you, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
good show.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ruel. I will be sharing Sana's conversation with her mother in a bit. Just give me a 1 second to open it up.
Hi everyone, I'm Tamanna Naik. This is my daughter Sana Joshi from Hercules House. And we're going to talk about climate change and sustainability. Right, Sana?
Yeah.
So, Sana, what can you tell me about climate change or sustainability?
Actually, I've listed down a few questions. So like, can you answer those?
Sure. So, what would you like to know? Look here.
What do you feel about how the government is trying to help in climate change?
Okay, so let's talk about government in India because since we are here in India, so the government does a lot of things to control environmental issues, or government also does a little bit about creating laws and rules and policies to ensure that climate change gets controlled. So, do you know if there is any major project that has to be done, it has to get an approval from the Ministry of Forestry. It has to get an approval from the Ministry of, from different ministries and from pollution control boards. So they actually do a study called environmental impact assessment. Then they make an environmental management plan. So they try to reduce or mitigate, shift as much damage as possible to the environment, because deforestation and all these are the things that cause climate change, right? So the government is taking steps, and then no major project can happen unless these clearances from MOEF, that's Ministry of Environment and Forestry, comes in. Yeah.
So that is like a lot more than what I think we're supposed to do. So one more question is, how are you helping in sustaining climate change?
How am I, or
how are you?
Or both of us? So I personally
Like
believe.
you individually.
I individually. So I'm someone who believes that any little step we take will help us. Yeah. I keep telling you also, right?
Yeah.
So what are the little steps we can do in everyday life? So one thing is one of the biggest causes of the climate problems is because of the excess that we have. We do excessive use of things. We buy things that we don't require. We do a lot of wastage. So the wastage could be food, but to make that food, the whole process, so much of water, so much of effort has gone in.
So you don't buy excessive things?
No, so you don't waste food. Or if you're leaving a room, you turn off all the points, all the fans, so you don't waste electricity.
So you're saying that if someone stocks a lot of food in their fridge, but the food doesn't get used, you don't stock a lot of food in the fridge, right?
You can stock food, but you have to ensure that it doesn't get spoiled in the fridge. So it's like when we go to buy some of your favorite cold cuts or sausages and things, I tell you, let's just buy a packet at a time or a packet or two that we can finish at the earliest.
Yeah.
Because it's not right for us to throw away like food that gets spoiled by just being there and not consumed. So, or let's take another example. Diwali is coming up.
Yes.
And we as a family, we do not burst crackers.
Yeah.
But do we have lesser fun than others?
No.
We still have our fun in Diwali, right? So these are little things that you can do to ensure that you do not contribute to climatic problems. Yeah?
Yeah, that's a good answer. Third and final question. What do you think we all should do to sustain climate change?
See, let's face it, the climate is changing. and things are getting bad for all of us. My personal belief is that we should do whatever possible to sustain it. I can't say that stop using your cars or stop drinking tea, because tea gardens also are result in a lot of deforestation. I love tea. I can't live without it. So, but what I would say is that at least let's control the wastage that happens because of the non-using of things. Or another new trend all of us have started is that we use and we throw things. We don't believe in repairing them or reusing them or recycling them.
In that also we waste money, because money is also made by paper, which is made by trees.
No, money is a different concept. This is not money related. However, it is, I would just say that the three things that you can do to have a sustainable life is, number one is reuse wherever you can, wherever is possible.
Yeah.
Second is reduce. Don't do anything in extra. And recycle. There are so many things we can just ensure that we don't burden our earth anymore. Yeah? So, well, thank you all for your time and for listening to
Forgot
us.
it was there.
Thank you so much, Sana. Siddhant, I will be sharing video that your mother has sent us. So please just give us a minute to share.
Miss Papi, can I clarify? That was a video only of her speaking. I really have an updated one with a conversation between me and my grandfather.
So okay, let's have that. Okay, we will play the message from your mother first, and then you can perhaps screen share your conversation with your grandfather.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. Just give me a minute. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hello everyone, my name is Jayada Pandit. I am the mother of Siddhant Pandit, grade 7C, Orion House. And I'm very glad to be here today talking to you all today about a topic which is very close to all of us at home, climate change and sustainability. You know, I keep telling Siddhant about what I grew up listening to from my grandmother. She turned 95 last week, and she keeps telling me stories about how they used to walk down to Mutha River, to the temple, which was at the banks. And it was a quiet afternoon, most of the times, with gulmohar trees on both the sides. I think pristine Pune at its best at that time. Eventually, with the next generation, I remember my mom has always been telling me about every time when she came to Pune. She was not based in Pune at that time. And every time she visited Pune, she looked forward to that one single horse carriage ride that they used to get, the Tonga ride, what they used to call at that time, to drive around the town. Coming to the next generation, I remember so distinctly as a child, one of the most precious memories was getting home this very first car, the white big ambassador, which was there at that time and which seemed to be such a celebration of hard work at that time. Cut to today, and I'm working with a company right here in town in Pune, whose focus largely is autonomous driving, driverless cars, and the technology that goes with it. Today, we are competing with the best in the world for it. So, just in the last couple of generations, we see that we have moved from alternative transport to alternative fuel, progressed in technology, progressed economically, and justifiably so, the focus for the last few generations has been economic progress. However, we stand at a place where all the economic progress has really cost us environmentally. We are seeing the effects of climate change on a daily basis. Clearly, the kind of world we live in today cannot be the kind of world we leave for the future generations to live in. We are going to have to tackle climate change today, and the best way to probably tackle it, along with sustainable solutions of the future, is going to be being the change ourselves. On that note, I wish you all a lovely tête-à-tête and a lovely day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Siddhant, are you online? Okay. I don't have Siddhant here, so maybe once he joins, he would be able to share the video with us. Amaya, we have Miss Sujata Paul here with us. Could you please introduce her to our teammates?
Yes. So, hello, Miss Sujata. Good morning. Okay. So,
Hello,
Miss
miss.
Sujata.
Can anyone hear me?
Hello.
Good
So
morning.
I'll just introduce Miss Sujata to the rest of us. Good morning, ma'am. So Miss Sujata was born in Dehradun and she did her schooling from Dehradun. She attended DAV College and she has completed a Master of MA in English Literature. She later did a MSc in Organic Chemistry from St. John's College and Agra. And in 1991, she completed her B.Ed with specialization in science from Isabella Thorburn College, Lucknow. Um, she is currently working as a national coordinator with the Indian National Congress in the media department. From Indus Pune, on behalf of Indus Pune, I welcome you, Mr. Jata.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Miss Papiha, can you hear me?
Yes, Siddhant, I can hear you.
My network had gone out.
It's
Let me
all
just-
right. It's all right. Siddhant, I would request you to share the video with me, okay, via email. You can move on with the round 2.
Sorry.
Are you able to screen share?
Yes, miss, I can.
Okay, then you may go ahead, please. I believe Siddhant has network issues and he is not here. Amaya, can we please go ahead with round 2? Ruel, are you online?
Yes, miss.
Yes. Okay. Please go ahead.
Miss, but Siddhant was the third participant. Without him, should we continue?
He's facing some network issues. He may join us in a minute.
Hello, miss.
Hi, Siddhant. Okay.
So, miss, I think I'll have to share my video at the end. There are some network issues at my end.
Okay.
So, could I share it?
Yeah.
At-
So Siddhant, we'll
Absolutely fine.
continue with
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so round 2, as I told you, was a informal discussion between the participants and me about climate change and how we define sustainability and how do we actually know if we are truly sustainable or not. So I think we should start with that. So the first topic is not a very it's a very popular topic known as causes of climate change. Everyone talks about this, but and everyone talks about the effects also, but no one actually thinks about there are very few people who actually think about what they can do to reduce climate change. So we'll first start with the causes of climate change, and we are going to talk about the major causes and some of the minor causes which add up and actually form a major part of climate change. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to ask one of you. So with Siddhant, we'll start with the discussion, and Siddhant, you can start talking about the causes of climate change.
I couldn't hear you for the last few minutes because my network again ran out. So, could you just repeat?
Yeah, so we are going to discuss about the causes of climate change. And yeah, so we are going to start the discussion from you.
Okay. So the main cause, according to me, is about how we are releasing carbon dioxide due to our human activities like transportation, industry uses, and especially agriculture. In agriculture, you have all of those different types of, you're feeding your cows, you're feeding livestock. That leads to a lot of methane pollution and other greenhouse gases. What do you think?
So, see, if when we consider agriculture, agriculture is basically the it's the economic backbone of India. 70% of India's population is currently also dependent on agriculture. So, do you really think that we should try to switch on to something different because we are facing climate change? And do you think that people will agree
मॉम को भी
that
अनलॉक या फोन
just because they have some carbon footprint or they have effect on climate change, they'll switch on to something different? And how do you plan to do it?
They won't, but what we are looking at is not taking out the agricultural sector, but finding innovative ways to change the agricultural sector into becoming less, having a less carbon footprint. For example, with the new technologies like aeroponics or hydroponics, you're changing the whole agricultural sector. It's the
Yeah,
it's how we should go ahead with agriculture. Do you think that is a feasible solution?
that is a feasible solution, but like it is a feasible solution for some of the part of the agricultural sector, because if we currently look onto who the like we look onto the backgrounds of the financial backgrounds of the people who are in the agricultural sector and who are having a effect on climate change, we will come to know that most, like not most, all of them are people who are from the rural background or who do not have a very good financial backbone. And they are like currently, if we watch the news and like if we currently are following the news, we are also facing, so farmers are facing many issues like the prices dropping due to the middleman between the farmer and the consumer. And due to this, farmers are like most, like the maximum issues the farmers are facing, the most of it is basically the financial problems. And hydroponics or aeroponics are techniques which are environmentally sustainable, and they are feasible for people who can afford it. And most, if we, as I just said, if we look at people who can, like the most 70%, like of the 100% of people who are actually based on agriculture are who are facing financial problems. So how do you think, can we have an innovative method or a innovation which can try and reduce the carbon footprint of these farmers or the agricultural sector?
For that, there are many solutions. First one is to empower them to be able to economically and financially suffice themselves. Then another thing is to create businesses and entrepreneurial startups which connect the farmer, the consumer in a feasible way for the farmer, and which will not strip him of his money.
Hmm.
Those are the main two solutions we should look at as a country.
Okay, now so we had these PM, not a
Mhm.
PM, but the government had launched these PM yojanas. And in those yojanas, they had actually planned many things for the farmers. And actually, what you just said right now, they were actually trying to actually empower the farmers and try to create a direct link between the consumers and the farmers and remove all the middlemen. But do you think that the government has been successful in doing it? Or like, if you think they have been successful, then like on till what extent or to what extent they have been successful?
It's like a starting point for the whole whole movement. But for that to go ahead, you need to have the people being educated about how the connection is supposed to be. It has to be taken forward to the next level and again until the farmers really are able to work and connect with their consumers without a middleman. For example,
Yeah.
there are these marketplaces a little on the outskirts of Pune where you have the farmers, the producer directly connecting with the consumer instead of having a
So,
middleman.
so it basically needs a mindset from the consumer to actually look out for producers out there and then actually trying to empower them so that it's one of the ways in which we can tackle climate change. Because if we look at this indirectly, the more financially backed up the farmer is, he'll look onto more innovative or more progressive methods in his own farming, and that's how it will work.
Yes.
So, Ruel, what do you think are one of the major causes of climate change?
Okay, so one of the most major causes for me, I believe, are for climate change are basically our carbon footprints. I believe those are the most dangerous ones for climate change because the amount of emission of carbon might lead to it can be either global warming or it can be a global dim. Based on our industrials, they use soot, and soot is a chemical that is used for cooling, or its gas is very heavy, so it starts to cool. So it can be either a global dim or a global warm. So based on that, I believe our carbon footprints are the most uh, points that we should be careful on.
Yeah, so what do you think are included in a carbon footprint? So,
So I think in
yeah.
our carbon footprint, basically everything that we do in our lifestyle is related to a carbon footprint. Example, now during this lockdown, the amount of electronics we use might be another one of our carbon footprints because the emissions of heat are a lot from electronics, especially big electronics like a TV or laptops because they use too much of time. And otherwise, now since thanks to this lockdown, we don't drive anymore. That's one major decrease in carbon footprint because um, last year in 2019 the amount of carbon emission was higher than this year because of transporting vehicles, because most vehicles are diesel or petrol or using any kind of fossil fuel.
Okay, since you introduced this year in the COVID-19 pandemic, what do you think the pandemic had an effect on on the carbon footprint other than the transportation sector, and how has it like positively has it reduced the carbon footprint, or has it reduced climate change, or has it increased climate change? So what do you think about that?
Okay, so in both ways, I think during this pandemic, there are both positive and negatives to the pandemic because one is there'll be more now that the vehicles are gone, there's just some decrease in the carbon footprint. But some of the main issues are also from industries, the industries that produce materials for us, example, tantalum, tungsten, and all of them. They need to include their mining and using their coals, which is very dangerous for chemical hazard. And again, the positive views about this are that many of the harmed environments are starting to heal because of basically little to no human exposure to those environments, machinery also. So I think this hasn't decreased or increased carbon footprint in a way, but it just gives us a sense of idea to what we need to work on for the next decade.
Okay, so I read about this yesterday. There is this national organization called IIMUN, and this organization has been Okay, this organization has been demanding a 1 week lockdown every year to allow the nature to heal, allow Mother Earth to heal. So, do you think is this a feasible option or is this a feasible way to tackle climate change?
See, you can't just keep a 1 week lockdown because people have jobs to do, people have work to do. You can't just lock everybody up because that will just ruin everything economically. Because if you do a 1 week lockdown, people will have to start working at home, which and mostly it's very hectic for people to work at home, even us as students. But 1 week lockdown might also be a feasible idea because it lets, as you said, the environment start to heal itself. But just for our what we do in our lifestyle every single day without this lockdown, it's just not a very great idea, I think. Yeah, there will be a lot of lifestyle changes, but in the future there is hope for this idea because it is feasible. So yeah.
So, do you think that this idea, so this 1 week lockdown idea, is actually feasible enough? Not through what I just discussed, but is it feasible enough to actually counteract what problems it's facing? So, see, the economy of India has faced a very basically has like what do you say, decrease, or I
Yeah,
don't know about the economical
declined.
economical word, but still has faced consequences due to this lockdown. And if we say that this 1 week lockdown, if we have this every year, do you think that the economical disadvantages it had or it will have will overpower the climate change advantages it will have? And do you think that 1 week in every year can actually overcome everything that has happened in the year? So what I mean is we pollute for whole of the 51 weeks, and for 1 week we say that we let Mother Earth heal. Do you think this is possible, or is it like a continuous process of healing?
So it is a continuous process of healing. You can't keep it for a week to let environment heal because the amount of harm or the amount of um, pollution in the environment is just not enough for a week's time of healing, because the amount of harm we've done to it for the last century is will take too long to heal properly. But this 1 week idea of a lockdown is fine because it's a gradual process of healing. It slowly lets the environment heal, and probably by in a decade or so the environment might be able to come back into its fit form. And otherwise,
Yes.
economically, I don't think it'll overpower anything. But this 1 week lockdown has its tolls on economically, because countries depend on the citizens to work for their incomes and for earning the money for the government basically. So without that, or without, see, some types of works just can't be done at home. Example, for industrial workers, if there is a 1 week lockdown, it'll make everything in the industrial economy worse. It'll take a huge toll because you can't work at home during with an industry factory because it's just not possible. So it'll take a toll on some kinds of economies and businesses, but it will also gradually help the environment to get back into its form.
Okay, thank you, Ruel. Coming to Sana, do you think space exploration is worth enough considering the amount of climate change or climate effect it has?
Um, I don't think space exploration should happen because, well, even though you're polluting the earth, you should not pollute outside it because
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So let's say that okay, so let's say that just as an example, we just had the latest space mission we had was Chandrayaan 2, and we successfully inserted another satellite into the moon's orbit. So what do you think uh, has this whole space mission, let's consider the example of Chandrayaan 2, do you think this has an effect on climate change, or in which way?
yes, it increases carbon dioxide emissions.
Okay, so what do you do do you consider yourself as a sustainable person?
Yes.
So what do you do as a sustainable person, and what do you think what an ideal sustainable person is?
Ideal sustainable person is like a minimalist. He or she does minimalist living. Uh, and I try to be as much of a minimalist as I am, but there are all of us have like these things that we need to do, like school for one. In,
Okay, okay. So let's consider that I am a sustainable person. Let's consider. I know I'm not a sustainable person, so let's consider I'm a sustainable person. So, what do you expect to see in a sustainable person? So, I'm not talking about the type of lifestyle the person has, but what do you expect to see in a sustainable person's house? So, what do you expect to see when you go to the sustainable person's house?
so if I go to a sustainable person's house, I would see that person reusing a lot of stuff, uh, and they recycling a lot of stuff, and
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
So, coming to Siddhant, do you think, as the same question as I asked Sana, do you think space explorations are worth are worth actually carrying out, considering the carbon footprint at least?
So I believe we should have a balance over there. There should be a balance between both. The what happens is when we go into space, we find new solutions for those situations which may be applicable on our life on Earth. For example, the water purifier, it first came in space, and that can be really something which can affect our lives. For example, there are some countries, some cities in the world who are finding ways to use like recycle water throughout the system from all types of sources and use it again. That has only come because space exploration had started. So we need to have a balance.
Okay, now let's have a discussion between all four of us. I don't want to continue individually. So let's have a discussion between all four of us. So, um, what are your opinions on the effects of climate change? So, not the theoretical effects which we study in every geography class or every environmental studies class. I'm talking about the practical implications of climate change, practical effects of climate change on your life. So not so let's say that in every geography class we study that climate change has an effect on the rising sea levels, Climate change has an effect on um, the melting of glaciers, rising temperatures, global warming. So, not that, but what on your life do you feel is an effect due to climate change? Let's start from real.
All right, so the changes I have seen due to climate change is not that bad, but enough to just realize that what climate change has done to us. Example for since June, we've been getting rain, and at least till the point till or October, the rain stopped. So that just shows the amount of how horrible climate change works on us and how it ruins, because those rains that happened from June to October were really devastating, and it also hurt many villages near us who are farm villagers who are farmers and all. So I saw the toll of climate change by that way, and some other ways I don't think so. I've seen much, but you can say because of I could say a lot of more heat from now on and very cold days. So, example, during this time, it's mostly coming to a winter. So, you would expect very chilly mornings and very chilly nights. But the toll on climate change has changed it in such a way that it's like a desert. Sometimes it's really, really hot outside, or maybe a hot, or in the night it's freezing cold. So that's kinds of tolls that I've seen climate change take near me. I don't know much about those vehicle transportations and all, but these are the only two that I know.
Okay. So, um, Sana, what do you think a common man's house? So, that is this famous knowing. So, everybody knows this. So, until something affects your own life, nothing, so you are not going to actually go and change it. So, until climate change is going to affect the common man's life, no, the common man is not going to actually go and change it. So, what do you think has so what do you think climate change has had an effect on the common man's life, and how do you plan to work on that? So has it had an effect on you, and how have you planning to work on that?
Yes, it has had an effect on me, and as Ruel stated that it has been raining since June. I'm not sure if June or July, but that has affected me because in that rain we couldn't go out to play because it was a literal cyclone at that point. And also when I was young and I was like traveling, like young, and I was going to Indus, and Manas Lake was almost empty, and in that way I was like, why is this lake empty? And when my teacher explained why, the problem shocked me because I never knew that this was happening. So yeah, that's
Okay, so how have you been planning to work to make sure that you do not contribute to planning climate change?
how have I.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I have been doing is I have been doing very, very simple things, because I learned that simple things can contribute to a bigger thing. I have been planting trees in my garden, more trees, and I've been turning on and off the light whenever needed, and I've not been charging my phone or laptop that much because that will waste electricity. And um, I've not really gone out, so I've not gone out in a car in like a long time. So yeah, I'm using.
Yes. Okay. So coming to Siddhant as the last speaker for the day. Siddhant, Do you think that overexploitation of resources contributes to climate change? And as Sana said just now, that she found Manas Lake empty, Manas Lake, the lake beside her school. And do you think that overexploiting resources like mining, like overfishing, or yeah, so do you think that has an effect on climate change?
It very much has. For example, now let's take the example of overfishing. Overfishing, what happens is that you're taking too much fish. That disrupts the whole ecosystem of that area. When that happens, normal environmental factors also change. For example, if there are not enough fish, that means the predators won't have enough food. Counts in that lake will increase. That means water will be taken in more. So then it just sets off a domino effect, which can affect everything around in that area. As ecosystems are connected through, they're interconnected and interdependent. Hence, all of the ecosystems around it get affected. That is how small exploitations of natural resources affect the whole ecosystem and environment. Hence, triggers climate
Okay.
change.
Okay. So what have what do you plan? So on the innovation day, I saw this was a great app, a great this was just great application, mobile application some students had done to not to make sure that there is no overfishing of endangered species or no one's actually harming the ecosystem. So do you think that humans, so going vegan or going vegetarian or being non-vegetarian, has does this have an effect on how much climate change it does? Because as we all know, the ecosystem has follows one and the only rule, the survival of the fittest. And we also know that humans have been omnivores. So do you really think that going against the ecosystem's rule and actually trying to do something different will have a good effect on climate change? And how do you actually plan on that?
At the moment, we human beings have taken decisions. For example, when we first became farming, we stopped eating meat most of the time. It just decreased the amount of meat we eat. Then we started changing ourselves according what we want. That is the first step which goes against nature. Even before we really went into totally eating meat and becoming omnivores, what happens is we may change and the environment around us will change. If we change in the positive way, then the environment around us will also change in a positive way. Hence, if we become vegan, there will be a decrease in the amount of meat we hold, livestock we hold within us, etc. That means there will be a decrease in the amount of climate change. And furthermore, if we take a step ahead when it comes to becoming vegetarian and use basic things at home to eat, like to create food at home and become self-sustainable in that way, then it will even more decrease climate change.
So, Siddhant, you're a part. So, as this topic is about climate change and we are reaching the end of our stipulated time period for this discussion. So, what do you think? So, there was this oath taken by some a set of students last year on Indus Day saying to reduce 60% of the carbon footprint emissions of our school Indus Pune by the coming Indus Day 2021. So, do you really think how has the team been working on it, and do you really think that till now the team has been actually successful to at least start the process of reducing climate change?
So I'm really part of that team. I'm part of the CFIA project. So we have been trying to do that at our utmost possibilities, but it also depends on the student group who have to create change between themselves. Our student group has to change ourselves. For example, when we look at a country, I'm just taking a bigger level. The public has to change their actions so that the government will accordingly change. It's like again a domino effect. When one changes, the other has to change. Hence, if one person changes in our school, it creates a ripple effect, and everyone has to adapt to the new environment. Hence, we have been trying our best to apply solar panels and rainwater harvesting, etc. But it also goes into our students like us, in our hands. So yes, we have been trying our best, but it also depends on everyone else in the school.
Yes, thank you. Ruel, you are raising your hand.
Yeah, I just wanted to add a point to Sid. So all of these ideas to create a sustainable environment, what those those students were thinking of. See, what I think is you can't stop climate change. You can only fight climate change through.
Yes.
So I would like to add
Ruel,
on
you're
to
on mute.
Ruel's point.
Yeah, could I continue?
Yeah,
So,
please.
as I was saying, that you can't stop climate change, you can only fight it, because climate change is a kind of a force that you can't just make it disappear all at once. It's a very gradual process of using sustainable ideas and slowly dissolving that climate change effect that it has been on our environment for years. Yeah, Sid.
Yes, Siddhant.
I add to my point and Ruel's point. So, first thing to add to my point, we have been the CFR project has been changing it because of different steps we have taken and connecting with the outside environment, helping us get inspiration from outside of our school. We have had biodegradable some packages which are coming, and also there are solar panels, piezoelectricity, different concepts are coming out in our school, which is helping us increase efficiency of our school, hence decreasing climate change. And as Ruel said, climate change can only fought back and never be stopped. That is when we understand that nature changes all the time. As one person had said, climate change is the only constant. Hence, if we cannot stop climate change, we can stop our impacts on climate change. But climate change is a natural phenomenon. It's not in our hands totally. We only can control our effects on it.
Okay, could I add to Sid's point?
Okay. So, Ruel will be the last speaker now because okay, Ruel, let Sana speak because she hasn't spoken for a while now, and Sana will be the last speaker because after that we'll be concluding today's event. Yes,
So when I was in PYP, we had this club called the Environmental Club where we had planted a lot of trees, and there were very less people in the club, but as soon as we started planting trees and telling people about this club, more people wanted to join. So I thought that we could do that in our school more and more to encourage people to not stop, but try to help in climate change.
Okay, so with that we conclude today's event. Thank you, Mr. Hasini, Mr. Jata, and Ms. Sonika for being with us today. Thank you, Ms. Neeti and Mr. Piha, for your tireless efforts behind this event. And thank you, Siddhant, Sana, and Jewel for adding valuable points to today's discussion.
I just wanted to ask Siddhant, can you share that video about the conversation?
I was just about to. Yes, I am. Just 1 minute. so here, can you see it?
Not yet, Siddhant.
Can you?
Yes,
Yeah.
now we
Okay.
can. Yeah.
My grandfather. It was also used for another project.
And here we are with Mr. Ram, the founder and chairman of KTRT Technology. This topic,
Siddhant,
first question I have for you today is,
Sorry.
yeah, so the video is lagging a lot, and it has so we cannot actually understand what's being said. So what we can do is you can actually send the video to Miss Papiya, and she can forward it to the judges maybe, and then we can actually use it for the discussion. Because I think, oh, so is it only for me, or is the video lagging for everyone?
Yeah, the video is lagging for
Yeah,
me
the
too.
video is lagging for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think that works, Miss Papiya. So
Yeah.
he'll send it to you and
So judges, we will forward you Siddhant's video shortly. And we thank you all so much for joining us for this conversation here. Um, if only you could tell us a few words about the students, that would be really helpful for us. And we will contact you via email for the score sheet. So, Ms. Suhasini, can we hear from you?
Yeah, sorry. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
So thank you, and of course with pleasure. To begin with, I mean, what a fantastic morning I've had, and what a brilliant start to my day, or I would say week. I was so engrossed in listening to you all converse that, in all honesty, I almost forgot I was here to judge, and which, by the way, was one of the toughest things I've had to do. I didn't think it was going to be such a difficult challenge, because each one of you was brilliant. And coming back to the event itself, well, what wowed me was the fact that young minds like yours have such clarity of thought. I mean, as adults, we can take a cue or two. In fact, I had to get up in the middle to switch off my laptop, which was charging unnecessarily. I was already on 100%. So thank you for you just pointing out such simple things for us to take a cue from. And the fact that the awareness, the level of awareness, the level of empathy towards the environment, and what better way and what a better time to sort of be discussing this when look at what we all are suffering right now from. So I'm extremely proud to realize that in the very near future, it will be individuals like you who will be leading the world and hopefully making this world a better place for all of us to live in. So thank you for including me. And as cliched as it sounds, it brought me back to my school days. So thank you for that excitement as well of, this inter-house competitions and this fun of discussing things with your peers and classmates. And best of luck for the rest of the event. Thank you again. Have a good.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Ms. Sujata, can we hear from you?
First of all, I must congratulate all of you for this wonderful, wonderful event. And Ameya, I am so proud of you. The manner in which you conducted the entire event is really fabulous. And I've always had a great belief that youngsters are the one who are going to make a change in this world. And, I haven't been proved wrong yet again. The questions, the thoughts that you all have in your mind, the curiosity that you possess is what is required of all of us. The only problem is when people grow up, they stop growing, and I just wish that you will continue to grow as you grow up, and when you think you have already grown up, because Greta Thunberg has shown the way, and she's shown the world that it is youngsters who are going to lead this world, and they are the ones who are concerned about the world. Of course, all of us believe in sustainable living. I work in the field of environment as well. I'm a social activist. And, recently in Dehradun, there are forests which are being cut. And the best part is it is youngsters, not maybe only as young as you. They are young, because I consider 24, 25 also young. And I consider anybody who can think like you young. Yes. And the fact that you have empathy towards your environment, that is very important. It is very important that we understand what somebody else can feel, rather than um, you know tell people what we think, rather than show people what we think. It is very important to feel it, and that aspect has really come out so well in this conversation. All four of you have done brilliantly, and I felt as if I was, I feel like I'm part of you. I don't think I'm the oldest probably over here, but I feel as young as you. And I've really, really enjoyed being with you, because you are the people I love being with. And I really apologize because of connectivity issues. I
No
couldn't
problem, ma'am. No
connect
problem.
initially. But congratulations and all the best, because what I can see is that you're going to be fantastic leaders, not only in your own fields, but for the entire world. So, congratulations once again.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Sujata. Ms. Sonika Singh, can we hear from you, please?
Very, very much. I think it was a beautiful morning, and what a wonderful experience I had today. And may I first say, great job. Just great job, kids. And I think Neeti ma'am and Priya ma'am, you have done an amazing job. I mean, what an innovative contest. I enjoyed every bit of it. And Amaya, you were fabulous facilitator. I
Thank you,
don't
ma'am.
as a teacher, I would say that probably we talk about 21st century skills, and we say, we try to bring collaboration, communication, critical thinking, and creativity all together, the four C's. But I think today in the school, with this particular contest, has brought all the four C's together. And not only have you brought the 21st century skills together, but you've done even a bigger thing, and that is making kids today realize that it is so important to be compassionate. So I think Neeti ma'am and Pipiya ma'am, you've done a great job. Sana, Ryul, and Siddhant, you were amazing. And let me tell you one thing, as Suhasini said, I'm just echoing what she said, that it was a very tough competition. Wasn't it, Suhasini? I mean, it was so difficult to actually, mark you. To be very honest, if I could do it, and I'm sure Suhasini and Sujata ma'am will also agree, I think I'll give first to all three of you. I mean, you were so good, so good. So great job, guys. And thank you so much, Neeti ma'am, for calling me today. I think it was a wonderful start to the day. And I would like to add over here that I will always be a very proud Indus parent. My daughter was here for 2 years, and I think probably that was the best decision I could make. So all those parents who are listening here, let me tell you that you guys are in the safest hands possible, and your kids are definitely going to become leaders of tomorrow. So thank you so much, Sana, Amay, Siddhant, and Ryul. Great going children, go conquer the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Miss.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Miss.
Yeah. So, dear judges, a big thanks to all of you for taking time off for this competition and motivating our participants. I would further like to appreciate all parents who participated and made this event a success and informative. I would like to thank all participants for joining us and sharing with us their understanding of climate change and its impact on world. I appreciate your awareness at this young age. At last, I would like to thank Ms. Papiha, Amay, and Team Indus for all their efforts in planning and organizing this event. Thanks a lot to everyone. Thank you once again.